Welcome to this Planning Commission meeting. Please remember to turn off your cell phones. The parking validation machine for the garage under City Hall is located at the rear of the chambers. Following roll call during the summary of hearing procedures, we will review how the public may provide comment during today's session. At this time, if you're able, please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We will now move on to roll call. First up is Vice Chair Cantrell.
Here.
Commissioner Brosio.
Here.
Commissioner Bandal.
Here.
Commissioner Bickford. Commissioner Lardnois.
Here.
Commissioner Oliverio. Commissioner Rosario. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Myself here. That's 7 in attendance, 2 absent, so we have quorum. All right, we will now move on to the summary of hearing procedures for this evening. If you want to address the commission, please fill out a speaker card located on the table near the audiovisual technician and deposit the completed card in the basket. There are also speaker cards in the back of the chambers and at the side entrance. The procedure for this hearing is as follows. After staff's presentation, applicants and/or appellants may make up to a 5-minute presentation. During the public comment period, the chair will call out names on the submitted speaker cards in the order received for those members of the public who attend in person. As your name is called, line up in front of the microphone at the front of the chamber. Generally, each speaker will be given up to 2 minutes for public testimony, and speakers using a translator will have up to 4 minutes. At the discretion of the chair, the time allotted to each speaker may be changed depending on the number of items on the agenda, number of speakers, and other factors. Speakers using a translator will have double the time allotted. After the public testimony, the applicant and/or appellant may make closing remarks for up to an additional 5 minutes. Planning commissioners may ask questions of the speakers. Response to commissioner questions will not reduce the speaker's time allowance. The public hearing will then be closed, and the Planning Commission will take action on the item. The Planning Commission may request staff to respond to the public testimony, ask staff questions, and discuss the item. If you challenge these land use decisions in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. The Planning Commission's action on rezonings, pre-zonings, general plan amendments, and code amendments is only advisory to the City Council. The City Council will hold public hearings on these items. Section 20.120.400 of the Municipal Code provides the procedures for legal protests to the City Council on rezonings and pre-zonings. The Planning Commission's action on conditional use permits is appealable to the City Council in accordance with Section 20.100.220 of the Municipal Code. Agendas and staff reports for the meeting may be accessed on the city's website. All right, we'll now move on to call to order and orders of the day. Before we begin, I want to remind Planning Commission members and members of the public to follow our code of conduct at meetings. This includes commenting on the specific agenda item only and addressing the full body. Public speakers will not engage in a conversation with the commissioners or staff. All members of the Planning Commission, staff, and the public are expected to refrain from abusive language. Repeated failure to comply with the code of conduct, which will disturb, disrupt, or impede the orderly conduct of this meeting, may result in removal from the meeting. This meeting of the Planning Commission will now come to order. All right, and first up this evening, we have public comment. Now is the time for public comment to the Planning Commission on non-agendized items. Please fill out a speaker's card and give it to the technician. Each member of the public may address the commission for up to 2 minutes. The commission cannot take any formal action without the item being properly noticed and placed on an agenda. In response to public comment, the Planning Commission is limited to the following options: responding to statements made or questions posed by members of the public, or requesting staff to report back on a matter at a subsequent meeting, or directing staff to place the item on a future agenda. Staff, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on non-agendized items? Or any members of the audience who'd like to come down and speak on anything not on tonight's agenda? Doesn't look like it. Okay, in that case, we will move on to deferrals and removals from calendar. Staff, do we have any items to defer today?
No, there are no items.
Okay. In that case, we will move on to the consent calendar. Notice to the public, there will be no separate discussion of individual consent calendar items, as they are considered to be routine and will be adopted by one motion. If a member of the commission requests debate, separate vote, or recusal on a particular item, that item may be removed from the consent calendar by the chair and considered separately. The public may comment on the entire consent calendar and any items removed from the consent calendar by the chair. Staff will provide an update on the consent calendar. If you wish to speak on one of these items individually, please come down to the podium at this time. And it looks like we do have a request for comment on, I'm assuming this is item 4B. Is that correct, Eli? Okay, in that case, we will pull item 4B to be considered separately. So do we have any other, or I guess there's nothing else on consent calendar, so if we have a motion to approve the minutes from our January 22nd meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar from Commissioner Lardenois with a second from Commissioner Rosario. Assuming there's no further discussion, we will move on to a vote. First up, Vice Chair Cantrell.
Yes.
Commissioner Borosio.
Yes.
Commissioner Bendall.
Yes.
Commissioner Bickford is absent. Commissioner Lardenois.
Yes.
Commissioner Oliverio is absent. Commissioner Rosario.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 7 yes, 2 absences, 0 no's, so the motion passes. All right, in that case, we will then move on to item 4B, which is H23-007 and ER23-075, which is a site development permit to allow the demolition of an existing building and eligible city landmark for the construction of a 7-story, 118-unit residential building at 380 North 1st Street. Staff, do we have a presentation on this item?
Good evening. Yes, we do. Let me share my screen. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Cora McNaughton. I'm the Planning Project Manager for this item. This project is Site Development Permit number H23007 and CEQA file number ER23075, which will be presented by New Win, the Environmental Project Manager. The site development permit application is to allow the demolition of an existing 12,000 square foot office building that is an eligible city landmark and the construction of a 7-story multifamily residential building with 118 units, including 6 units that will be affordable to very low-income households. The project will also include 74 vehicle parking spaces in automated stackers. Other amenities include a fitness center and community room with a roof deck and a bicycle storage room. Pursuant to the state density bonus law, the applicant has requested one concession for reduction in required private open space and waivers of requirements for a building step back on Bassett Street and North 2nd Street, a landscape buffer, and transformer screening. The project site is located on the north side of Bassett Street between North 1st Street and North 2nd Street and is developed with the office building and a surface parking lot. Surrounding uses include 3-story multifamily residential buildings to the east and west, a rail right-of-way to the north, and a county library building and surface parking lot to the south. The blue and green VTA lines run along the site's North 1st Street frontage. The existing office building on the site, which is proposed for demolition, was built in 1964. According to the historic evaluation prepared for the building, its character-defining features include full-height columns supporting arches, wide overhanging eaves, and plate glass windows. According to the report, the building has not undergone significant alteration and is eligible for listing on the California Register of Historical Resources and designation as a city landmark as a representative example of the new formalism style of architecture. The project is consistent with the site's land use designation of transit residential in the envisioned San Jose 2040 General Plan Land Use and Transportation Diagram. Except for the one concession and 3 waivers requested under the state density bonus law, the project is also consistent with the transit residential zoning district, the citywide design standards and guidelines, the public outreach policy, the policy on preservation of historic landmarks, and the California Environmental Quality Act. And with that, I will turn it over to New, who will present the environmental review.
Thank you, Cora, and good evening. My name is Nu Nguyen, Environmental Planner with PBCE, here to cover the environmental review process for the 380 North 1st Street residential project. Thank you. So the city prepared an environmental impact report for this project, which included the following important milestones for the environmental review process. The notice of preparation was posted on August 28th, 2023, and the environmental scoping meeting was held September 11th, 2023. The draft EIR was first circulated October 18th, 2024 through December 2nd, 2024. And the final EIR with responses to comments was posted to the project page on January 31st, 2025, and all commenters were notified of the posting. Next slide, please. A list of environmental effects found to not be significant is written on the slide. The environmental documents identified potentially significant impacts of the project related to air quality, biological resources relating to nesting birds, archaeological resources, hazards and hazardous materials, and noise. And with the implementation of identified mitigation measures, these impacts would be reduced to a less than significant level. However, a significant unavoidable impact related to historical resources was identified for the project due to the demolition of the building at 380 North First Street, which is a candidate city landmark listed in the San Jose Historic Resources Inventory, and also eligible for listing on the California Register of Historical Resources. Even with the implementation of mitigation measures, this impact would remain significant and unavoidable. Next slide, please. And the EIR evaluated the following alternatives. First is the no project, no development alternative, which assumes that the project would not be constructed and that no alternative development would occur on the project site. Second is the no project redevelopment alternative. This alternative assumes that if the project was not approved, the site would still be developed with an alternative development later on that is consistent with what is allowed under the Transit Residential General Plan Land Use Designation and the zoning district. Third is the preservation alternative, preservation of historic resources on site. Under this alternative, the existing building on site would be converted to residential use, which yields approximately 12 to 14 new units. And in order to still provide the proposed 118 rental units, the new building that would be built on the remainder of the site would be a minimum of 12 stories, which includes one level of ground floor parking. The last alternative is the reduced density preservation alternative, and this alternative would assume the retention of the historic building and to construct a new residential building on the remainder of the site where the existing parking lot is located. The new residential building would be the same height as the proposed project, but the overall mass of the building would be reduced because of the smaller horizontal footprint, which would result in a decrease in units. And this alternative would also convert the existing historical office building to residential use. The environmentally superior alternative is the reduced development preservation alternative, because this alternative would avoid the significant unavoidable historic resources impact identified in the draft EIR, and this alternative would only partially meet the project's objectives since it would provide at least 30% fewer residential units than the proposed project. Next slide, please. The city received 6 written comment letters during the EIR public circulation period from various regional agencies, local organizations, and individuals. The comments raised concerns the following topics. One, sensitivity for tribal cultural resources on the project site. There were requests for textual changes to the EIR to update the water management related maps, ordinances, plans, and permit information, and also a noticing request from the Valley Transportation Authority for any construction work that would block VTA services. In conclusion, these comments did not result in any changes to the conclusions of the analysis in the EIR, and the responses to comments and text edits to the draft EIR are included in the final EIR, which was posted on January 21st, 2025. And all commenters were notified. And I will now pass the presentation back to Cora.
So staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend that the City Council take the following actions. Adopt a resolution certifying the 380 North First Street Environmental Impact Report and making certain findings concerning significant impacts, mitigation measures, alternatives, and adopting a statement of overriding considerations and a related mitigation monitoring and reporting plan in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act as amended. And adopt a resolution approving, subject to conditions, a site development permit to allow the demolition of an approximately 12,000 square foot office building that is an eligible city landmark, and the removal of 20 trees, including 10 ordinance-sized trees, for the construction of a 7-story, 118-unit residential building with 74 parking spaces, including 6 units affordable to very low-income households on an approximately 0.49 gross acre lot. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, staff. At this time, we'll turn it over to the project applicant for a 5-minute presentation.
Good evening, Chair Tordios, members of the Commission. My name is Eric Schoenauer, and I represent the applicant on this project. The city did extensive community engagement to arrive at the land use designation for this property, which is transit residential. As part of the North 1st Street Urban Village planning process, the city conducted 3 community workshops, 2 drop-in virtual office hours, 4 meetings with neighborhood leaders in the area. They conducted an online survey, and for this specific site, the city had an EIR scoping meeting as well as a community meeting specifically for the building on this site. As was stated, the designation of the property was given as transit residential as part of the North 1st Street Urban Village planning area and surrounding parcels. The Planning Commission approved that recommendation in January of 2022. The staff recommended it in January. Planning Commission approved in February 2022, and the City Council adopted these land use changes in March of 2022. The site is perfectly situated for urban housing. It's surrounded by high-density housing on all sides. It's within a quarter mile of VTA bus lines and 2 light rail stations. It's an easy walk to St. James Park and Ryland Park. There are numerous nearby restaurants and businesses for the residents to support, and there's easy access to employment in the downtown and civic center area. The site, as you can see if you visited and on the pictures, is underutilized. Half the site is simply a surface parking lot. The other half is the building, which has been underutilized for years and has become blighted. The building has been totally vacant for 9 months. It has been 60% vacant for over 5 years. And there is constant break-ins by homeless and vandals attacking the building, so it has become an eyesore. The new building, we think, is very attractive. It'll have extensive brick facade on the 1st Street side of the building in order to play off the historic landmark building, which is about 80 feet to the north. As was mentioned, we have 118 new units of housing. 5% of them will be affordable. We have a rooftop deck that'll have great views of downtown San Jose, and the density of our building is 244 dwelling units per acre, so it's fully utilizing almost the allowed 250 units per acre for the transit residential designation. This just gives you some more drawing elevations. Because the railroad is on the back side of the building, we've really put a lot of effort into making the 1st Street, 2nd Street, and Bassett Street with a lot of visual interest, a lot of articulation, so that it's a good addition to the neighborhood. With that, I'll stop and answer any questions, and will be available to respond to any public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment. As a reminder, each speaker will have 2 minutes. I'll start with the speaker cards that I have here. So we will begin with Eli Robles from Carpenters Local 405, followed by Alex Shore from Catalyze SV. If there are any other members of the audience who'd like to speak on this item, feel free to come down to the podium and line up behind the 2 current speakers. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Tordios and Commissioners. My name is Eli Robles. I'm a field representative for the NorCal Carpenters Union Local 405 here in San Jose. I want to bring attention to a crucial issue regarding the approval of this development at 380 North First Street. When you approve this project without strong labor standards in place, you're effectively endorsing a system that prioritizes the lowest bid over responsible practices. This means workers will be paid the lowest possible wages with no health care for themselves or their families. It also means that accredited apprentices, young men and women of Santa Clara County who are striving to build a career in the trades will be shut out of this opportunity. And while the responsible contractor ordinance exists on paper, we all know that the city of San Jose lacks the staff to enforce it. There is no city staff available to regularly visit job sites, speak with workers, and ensure they are being paid correctly. That means that wage theft, cash payments, under the table, and worker misclassification can and will happen unchecked. Commissioners, you have the power to set a higher standard. You can ensure that developments in our city create good paying, family supporting jobs for local workers. I urge you to consider the real impact of your decision, not just on the balance sheet, but the lives of the people who build this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll have Alex Shore.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. My name is Alex Shore. I'm here on behalf of Catalyze SV and our members who gratefully had a chance to score this project thanks to Eric and his client in September of 2023. We scored the project, and hopefully you saw in the correspondence we sent you, a 3.5 out of 5, which is actually the bare minimum of threshold for us to support the project. Now, since then, we understand the developer has made a couple changes. One is adding bike parking to the project, which our members would be very supportive of and called out in our letter. The other is the reduction of affordable housing from 15% on site to 5%, which is compliant with city regulations, but our members want to see integrated, socioeconomically integrated communities, and so we call for building as much affordable housing on site as possible. So that's really, really important to us. I think this is a pretty standard housing project. Hopefully we will see many, many, many more standard, run-of-the-mill, simple, straightforward housing projects to come. One of the extraordinary qualities of this project is that, again, we heard it in September of 2023, and it is already before you for approval, which I think all of us agree we would love to be quicker than that, but that's actually pretty quick for San Jose these days. So we're grateful that development is moving forward and there are folks willing to invest in San Jose to build housing, and we absolutely hope to see more projects that can move this quickly to you all. So I don't know what our members think because we haven't rescored the project, but we do think that housing projects like this need to come to the city more frequently, and there are some other neat elements to this project. A rooftop deck, our members would like to see more of that in San Jose. We also called for this project to have more ground floor activation, more ability for the project to interact with the neighborhood.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who'd like to speak on this item? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else move forward, so at this time we will turn it back over to the project applicant for an additional 5 minutes.
Just briefly, first of all, we want to thank Catalyze SV for their support for the project. We also would like to thank city staff for all their time preparing an EIR for this project, which is always a lengthy process, and reviewing it and recommending approval. I did want to just summarize, because I'm not sure how familiar the commission is with the logistics of the responsible contractors ordinance. The way the process works is that before you can get a building permit from the city of San Jose, the developer has to confirm from the state database that none of the contractors being proposed for the project have a judgment against them for wage theft or other violations. So you actually have to provide documentation from the state database. You have to attest to the fact that these contractors have not had any violations. And without that, you can't get a building permit. So the city council has set up a fairly foolproof system to check in prior to issuing a building permit to make sure that only contractors who are following the law work in our city. So I'm hopeful and confident that that will be a good system going forward. With that, I'm available for any questions from commission.
Thank you. And with that, we will turn it back over to the commission for discussion. Do we have any commissioners who would like to make public comment on this item or raise any questions for the applicant or for staff? Commissioner Lardenois.
I move that we adopt the staff I move that we adopt the staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the staff recommendation from Commissioner Lardenois with a second from Commissioner Young. If there's no further discussion, we will move on to a vote. All right, first up, Vice Chair Cantrell.
As we approve this, and I think there's time and obviously a process, that I hope that the developer will actually pursue fair and equal pay for people who work on this project. And with that, I approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Barocio.
Yes.
Commissioner Bendall.
Yes.
Commissioner Bickford is absent. Commissioner Lardenois.
Yes.
Commissioner Oliverio is absent. Commissioner Rosario.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 7 yes, 2 absences and 0 no's, so the motion passes. All right, that concludes the consent calendar for this evening, so we will now move on to tonight's public hearing. We have one item on the agenda for public hearing, which is PD 24-016 and ER 24-208, which is a planned development permit and determination of public convenience or necessity to allow the off-sale of alcohol at an existing tenant space at 1610 McKee Road. Staff, do we have a presentation for this item?
Yes, we do. Okay, good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. My name is Cameron G. I'm the project manager from the Planning Division for this item. This project consists of a planned development permit and a determination of public convenience or necessity to allow the off-sale of alcohol under a Type 21 ABC license at a new convenience store located at 1610 McKee Road. The tenant space is currently occupied by Metro PCS and is located within a neighborhood shopping center. The site is surrounded by another neighborhood shopping center to the northwest across McKee Road, duplex and single-family residences to the northeast across North 34th Street, a gas station to the southwest, and duplex and single-family residences to the southeast. The site has a general plan land use designation of neighborhood community commercial and is within a planned development zoning district, file number PDC 99-064. Here is a proposed floor plan for the approximately 2,376 square foot tenant space. In addition to beer, wine, and spirits allowed under the Type 21 ABC license, the convenience store would sell baked goods, snacks, canned foods, fresh produce, dairy, beverages, household items, and crispy, crunchy chicken. As you can see, the dedication of space for alcohol would be located in 3 coolers on the left-hand side of the screen, as well as behind the front counter on the right-hand side. Approximately 119 square feet, or 5% of the floor area, would be dedicated to alcohol. Alcohol sales would occur between the hours of 7 a.m. and midnight, which coincide with the store's hours of operation, and 2 employees would be on site during operating hours. The project was reviewed for consistency with the general plan, the San Jose Municipal Code, the California Environmental Quality Act, and the City Council's public outreach policy. The project was reviewed by the San Jose Police Department, who have stated that they are neutral to the off-sale of alcohol at this location. However, they do find that the census tract is over-concentrated which requires additional findings in a determination of public convenience or necessity, or PCN. Staff has found that the project is inconsistent with the General Plan Major Strategy 11, number 11, which supports limiting access to alcohol at retail locations, PCN finding number 1, as the project site is located within a strong neighborhood initiative area, PCN finding 2, as the project would be the 5th off-sale establishment within a 1,000-foot radius of the site, PCN finding 3, as the site is located approximately 400 feet east of Ann Darling Elementary School and 70 feet west of residential properties along North 34th Street. It is also inconsistent with PCN finding 5.A, as the census tract is not unusually configured in shape. And then finally, PCN finding 5.C, as the census tract is overconcentrated with 5 off-sale establishments when only 1 off-sale establishment is allowed based on the census tract's population. So when one or more of the required PCN findings cannot be made, the Planning Commission shall make a recommendation to the City Council, who is the final decision maker on this item. The City Council must determine that the project provides significant and overriding public benefit. Staff recommends denial of the planned development permit and determination of public convenience or necessity for the reasons mentioned earlier. The project site is located along McKee Road, where several active off-sale licenses have been issued. The project would result in a 5th off-sale establishment within 1,000 feet of the site, and that the site is located within 500 feet of a school and 150 feet of residential properties. In addition, the project site's census tract is overconcentrated with 5 off-sale alcohol licenses, where 1 alcohol license is authorized. And then finally, the project does not include any site improvements or operations that would differentiate itself from existing off-sale establishments nearby. I do want to add that under CEQA, the project is exempt from environmental review pursuant to Section 15301 for existing facilities if approved, and it would be exempt pursuant to Section 15270 if denied. And this concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Do we have the project applicant in attendance? Yes, you will have 5 minutes to give a presentation. Thank you.
Oh, for the slides. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. I would like to thank you for your time today and allowing me time to speak. I'm here to request your approval for the conditional use permit allowing the sale of alcohol beverages at 101 Mini Mart and Crispy Crunchy Chicken located at 1610 McKee Road, San Jose. Your decision today is vital to the survival of our business. This will provide a broader benefit for our community, and for that I ask for your support. I'd like to start by thanking the District 3 San Jose office and its staff for supporting this project, as well as the San Jose Police Department for their neutral position, meaning they do not oppose this project. I have been working with the San Jose Planning Department for the past 8 months on this project, committing myself entirely and doing my due diligence as I did whatever was asked by the planning staff. During these long 8 months, I was asked to reach out to District 3 Council Office and the San Jose Police Department. Once I got support from both departments, I went back to the Planning Department, and who then gave me the green light for supporting the project, and then I moved forward with the project knowing they would recommend approval of the project. I received a tremendous amount of support from the Planning Department staff. It was only then a staff member from the Planning Department called me stating that the Planning Department staff is not recommending approval, Department staff is recommending approval, but said my boss is not recommending approval of the project. This came as a shock and a cruel reminder of everything I will lose based on this decision. I have worked hard to establish a meaningful standing with the community alongside cultivating a relationship with the community and elected officials, not to mention the long hours I have poured into this project and the immense financial loss. I'm not one to take gamble and only went forward with this project after the consistent support and assurance was given by the planning staff. Even if a hint or doubt was shown at any point in the process, I would not have gone through with the investment of $180,000. I don't come from a silver spoon of money, and I obviously don't have $180,000 lying around to burn. Please see page 2 of the packet that the slides that were provided to you. Please see screenshot from the City of San Jose Planning Department website, stack recommendation, recommend approval. I have been in retail business for the past 5 years. After being approved for a CUP in 2020, I've spent the last 5 years working hard as a responsible retail business operator, contributing to the City of San Jose. In my mind, it was time for me to grow and open a second store so I could pay for both of my kids' university tuition and boarding. As one is in his last year of undergrad and applying for grad school, and my daughter is in her first year doing her undergrad, I'm positive that this business would definitely help pay for the university tuition and fees. A second store will also allow us to have a better buying power to compete with other stores and big giants like Lucky 7, Safeway, 7-Eleven, and Costco, to name a few. I'd like to emphasize the value of this business we will bring to the community in San Jose as a whole at this location. We are keeping 2 storefronts open in San Jose to the alternative of having 2 closed storefronts. We are occupying 2 current spaces in the shopping center, which is the old Metro PCS store and a chiropractor office, which both of them went out of business. We will be creating 5 full-time jobs and 2 part-time jobs. The ability to sell alcohol beverages will only serve to enhance the store and its appeal to consumers. We'll have fresh hot coffee, produce, soft drinks, deli items, and hot food with a crispy, crunchy chicken brand. Our store will attract more patrons and increase foot traffic for other businesses in the area. This location is essential for the license and essential to us to thrive. Beyond the immense community benefits, this has a profound impact on me and my family. As stated earlier, the financials will help pay both for my kids' education. We will all have invested so much money and energy. We don't have the financial capacity and cannot afford a long and hard battle with the city and its officials, nor can we sustain ourselves at this location without a CUP that will allow us to sell alcohol beverages. We are not a corporate giant that can pop up anywhere else. We are a small business, your traditional mom and pop shop that needs your support to survive today. I would also like to address primary issue 1, the school, Ann Darling Elementary School. The school is located on 33rd Avenue. The entrance and exit of the school, which is a closed campus, is over 1,000 feet away. Please see page 3 from your packet so you can see the location on Google Maps. Please note that this is an elementary school and it's a closed campus. I can only hope the kids are attended by their teachers and other trusted adults at all times. Please note that our location is more than 1,060 feet from the entrance. Please note that Lucky 7 location is right across the main entrance of the school and is only 100 feet away. The second issue is the census tract over concentration. There are actually only 4 active liquor licenses in the area. The gas station, please see page 5. Gas station located on the corner of McKee and 33rd has not sold liquor since 1985.
Thank you. We will now open the floor to public comment. I have 3 speaker cards for this item. We will start with Danny Garza, followed by Wendy, and then Rosa Enriquez. And if there are any other speakers who would like to speak on this item, feel free to also come down to the podium at this time. Thank you. And as a reminder, you will have 2 minutes for your comment.
Good evening, Chairman Torrillo and honorable commissioners. My name is Danny Garza. I represent the Plata Arroyo Neighborhood Association and also Little Portugal East, where this proposed business lies. And our neighborhood association is opposed to this, along with the District 3 current council member, also District 5 council member opposes this also. We're here for one reason, and we're here for greed. That's it. There's nothing in this project that's going to help our community. We've been assaulted for years. We have an overabundance and overconcentration of alcohol in our community. All you have to do is ask Dave Cortese. He's the one who sent me that information. We are supported by, I'll just be brief because I don't have much time. We're supported by District 5, District 3, the Mayor's Office, San Jose Unified District Trustee for Ann Darling, Teresa Castellano, Plata Arroyo, Little Portugal, we're Little Portugal East, Little Portugal, David Vieira, Terry Christensen. That's who supports us. The deputy chief, Brandon Sanchez, is supporting us. And of course, what Jess said is true. There are conditions from the police department that the police department will not relinquish. So, and to really close is, this is going to create trouble even on weekends at Ann Darling School. We can't have that. We've had people killed already on McKee Road at the crosswalk just east of this corner. We can't allow this to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we will have Wendy, followed by Rosa.
Good evening, Commissioner and staff. I'm the owner of Lucky 7 Supermarket. I've been there every day, and we know the area has already been pretty bad. With more alcohol in the area, the store, it would not bring any goods to the current area. We recently have an improvement working with the police department as well as the council member, helping to make the area a little bit more safe. There's a lot of children walking to school in the area across the street as well from Lucky 7 and to Lucky 7. There's many small children. Alcohol is not an essential to an area with small children walking around the area. Okay, we don't need to bring unnecessary people to the area with alcohol present in the present. We know what it can bring, okay? And let me see. If the city allowed this would be a bad example to represent your city, allowing more alcohol liquid sales by the school, and I truly against this planning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Rosa.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rosa Enriquez, and I live on 33rd Street, and I agree with this to add a mini mark, and speaking, I don't see an issue with it. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public in attendance who have not spoken who would like to provide comment on this item? If so, you can come down to the podium at this time. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else move forward, so with that, we will turn it back over to the project applicant for an additional 5 minutes of closing remarks.
I'll just start where I left off. Please see pages 6 and 7. Lucky Supermarket, which is 450 feet away from our location, is less than 100 feet from Ann Darling Elementary School. Quality Produce, Inc., which is 450 feet from our location. Quality Produce primary business is produce and check cashing and propane and leather shoes. Please note they only have 3 doors of beer, which they sell small and big size packages. The other 2 locations are geographically not in the same area as they're located on Alum Rock Avenue. Please see pages 8 through 11 so you can have a visual. 711 1639 Alum Rock Avenue is located 0.6 miles from our location. Type 21 off-sale license, the other one, number 5. This is the only one located in the census tract which only sells Portuguese wines, which is Trade Right Market, located on Alum Rock, which is 0.7 miles away. Please note, they don't sell any spirits whatsoever. They are a 99.9% wine store. Please note, in all reality, we are within 5 licenses allowed in the census tract. None of the stores in the state-designated census tract sell spirits. We will be the only ones that will offer sales in spirits, wine, beer under one roof. Please feel free to contact the gas station and see if they sell any types of alcohol, or trade right market to see what they sell. For some people, they continue to auto-renew their Type 20 licenses without ever using the license. I can give you another example down the street on 13th and Taylor. There's a store owner by Mr. Fernandez. He's a very proud businessman and prides himself as the first Latino owner of a liquor license. His store has been closed for more than 5 years. He will simply never sell the license or open it again. It's only worth noting that denying this permit would place us in a competitive disadvantage. Many similar businesses in the area already have permission to sell alcohol, making it difficult for us to compete on a level playing field. I urge you to consider the positive impact this decision will have, not just on my family, but also on the broader community. Approving this permit supports 7 new jobs and possibly more in the years to come, and practicing responsible business practices. We understand the importance of selling alcohol responsibly, and we are committed to maintaining strict compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations. We want to continue to support our community like we have since 2020 and since my arrival into the United States in 1988. I would like to thank the planning staff for getting us in front of you today. Thank you for your time and consideration. I sincerely hope you will vote in favor of the conditional use permit and help us continue our entrepreneurship as small businesses, which keep the money local by contributing to our city's growth and vitality. Thank you for your time. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Anthony, I have a question for the applicant.
Sure.
Sir, I have a question, which is there anything that would prevent you from opening the mini mart without selling the alcohol? It appears to me that the alcohol is a fairly insignificant part of the store.
For any, Mr. Young, for any small business, you need revenue, a little bit here, a little bit there, to get customers in. At my other location at Mayberry Market, where we got the CUP in 2020, we used to do roughly sales of $20,000 a month for 3 years while we waited for the CUP permit. And after we got the alcohol CUP, our sales went to $60,000. And our grocery sales is not $40,000 went with liquor sales. It's actually now we sell $30,000 a month, $35,000 some months in grocery, and then the rest, $20,000, is alcohol sales. So it makes a significant traffic volume count, which helps the other products that we sell.
Okay, so just to summarize what you said, then you're saying it's economically unfeasible for you and your family to open it without selling alcohol, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next up, we will go to Vice Chair Cantrell, followed by Commissioner Lardenois.
Actually, for the applicant, you asked my question for the applicant. I do have a question, though, for planning city staff. I'm not sure, why does the applicant believe that he was going to get approval?
So it's really a matter of making all of the findings that are added to the project due to the determination of public convenience or necessity. When staff issued the first comment letter, the first review letter, we did not receive a confirmation from the police at the time that the site is in an over-concentrated census tract. And after receiving that confirmation, that introduces a new section of the zoning code that needs to be applied to the project for the determination of public convenience or necessity findings, and staff found that we could not make all of the findings, which is a requirement for recommending approval.
Okay. And as the applicant recounts licenses not being used, stores closed, is that correct or incorrect?
It may be correct that the businesses around the area may not be utilizing their licenses, but the finding that we have to make is whether or not they have been issued a license. So whether or not they actually utilize the license it's not, it's not with us to include that in our recommendation. It's simply a finding of, are there active licenses, how many are there, and is it resulting in overconcentration?
Okay. Just one final question. Given the fact that the city has a terrible declining retail tax revenue stream, has there been any other effort to maybe consider beer and wine only? Would that be amenable? Is that possible to do something like that?
We have not considered that as an option for the project applicant. I don't know if you want to.
I will say that our code doesn't really differentiate whether it's beer and wine. I mean, the planning commission might have some discussion, but staff wouldn't necessarily differentiate between the two.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that the findings that we would have to make, the staff would have to make, are the same, no matter if it's a Type 20 or a Type 21 license.
Okay. Then I would have a question for the applicant. Have you talked with the community about that option? And would they be amenable to beer and wine only?
Yes. I met with a lot of community members, including Mr. Garza. I met him 2 times. We had a nice meeting. His only concern was the school distance. And at that time, when we were going through the process with the planning staff, we always knew the school isn't new, it's been there. But we also knew that the entrance of the school is way far away from our entrance or our even a parking lot entrance. So the schools on McKee Road, that was the only Mr. Garza's connection. But we did walk around the neighborhood. We were able to obtain signatures, which are included in the staff report, which supported this project. And that is why even the staff when they, surprised us with their decision, we actually moved forward to come in front of you today with all this information that, hey, we knew the school was there, but the school is actually 1,000 feet away. The field and the parking lot is within almost, the building doesn't even start within 600 feet.
Okay. So it's
a closed campus, sorry.
Isn't that the code, though? It has to be through the entrance? It's measured from distance from entrance to entrance?
So the finding does say that it's property line to property line. So even if the entrance is on the other side, the finding is the property line to property line.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Launois.
Yeah. So first I want to say to the applicant, thank you for making this presentation for us tonight. And I'm sympathetic to the fact that you're in a competitive market and that selling alcohol is a competitive advantage. I'm not comfortable making a motion yet, but I just want to say I'm generally pretty open on voting to approve these licenses, and generally city staff is pretty open about recommending them. So it does give me pause that there's a recommendation for denial here. I think that's something that we should take seriously in our consideration. Thank you.
Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, sir, thank you for making the presentation tonight. And in regards to the process, it's unfortunate that you've spent a lot of money on this with one thing in mind, but I will tell you that the city planning process is such that the planning staff can make a recommendation on these, but they come to us for decision. And actually this one I believe will go to the city council for decision. So, and I know our staff well enough to know that no promises were made to you. You may have gotten a general idea that it would be okay, but I know that there was no commitment made. Let me put it that way. So I'm going to echo what Commissioner Lardenois said. I am generally not opposed to these projects. There's other commissioners that are. I mean, we have very vigorous discussions on these often. But I will say in this case, the fact that there are that concentration of licenses in the area, it doesn't really matter if they're being used or not because there's a potential for them to be used. I mean, we could approve yours and the gas station the next day starts, right? So the concentration of licenses in the area, the proximity to the elementary school is of concern to me. We had a liquor store come in earlier this year that was half a mile from a middle school, which I was actually in favor of that project. It was voted down both here and at the city council. So, I cannot support your project. Unfortunately, I would hope maybe you could take it forward without the alcohol. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the staff recommendation to deny the project.
We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation from Commissioner Young. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and we have a second from Commissioner Lardnois. I am also very sympathetic to everything that you've raised here today. We obviously want people to be investing in our communities, opening new businesses. I will say that in my tenure on the commission, this is the first time I've seen one of these projects come forward, I believe, where staff had issued a recommendation for denying the project. And I do take that seriously. At the end of the day, we have the guidelines in our municipal code that lay out conditions for approving these sorts of permits. And I don't really believe that it's, the purview of the Planning Commission to ignore those guidelines. So if you choose to, carry this forward, you might find a more receptive audience at City Council. You can raise some of the concerns that you've raised here. I just don't believe that it's really the Planning Commission's role to override the rules that are written in our municipal code. Do we have any other comments from commissioners? Yes, Vice Chair Cantrell.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to agree with my fellow commissioners on this. While generally I think a person's right to do business in a community should override most concerns, liquor licenses are very unique. It's not just printing currency, basically. It's printing trouble sometimes for communities. And it's unfortunate that this location is so inconveniently located that it would be hard to approve. So I think I respect the staff and their capabilities. And the fact that they are not recommending this does carry quite a bit of meaning. I do wish, beyond wish, that you find another path forward and are able to open your business and remain in San Jose, because we do value your type of organization as well. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with the community and with our planning staff on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from commissioners before we move to a vote? Okay, not seeing any hands. As a reminder, the motion on the table is from Commissioner Young to approve the staff recommendation to deny the project, with a second from Commissioner Lardnois. Did you have another comment, Commissioner Lardnois? No. Okay, in that case, we will move on to a vote. First up is Vice Chair Cantrell.
I vote to follow the staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Commissioner Barocio.
Yes.
Commissioner Bendal.
No.
Commissioner Bickford is absent. Commissioner Lardnois.
Yes.
Commissioner Oliverio is absent. Commissioner Rosario.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's 6 yes, 1 no, and 2 absences. So the motion is carried. All right, that concludes our public hearing this evening. We will now move on to referrals from City Council, boards, commissions, or other agencies. Staff, do we have any referrals this evening?
No.
Okay, in that case, we will move on to good and welfare. Do we have a report from City Council?
Yeah, so since our last planning commission, the city council has met twice. This project didn't come before the planning commission, but they did approve a rezoning of the 130 Stockton Avenue to a conforming rezoning to allow the conversion of some of those retail spaces over to residential units. And then on February 11th, the city council had 2 projects. One was for Uproar Entertainments to a music venue for up to 250 people for late night use. And the other one, which was an off-sale for La Plaza Market off of 1915 West San Carlos, was approved by City Council. Both of those projects were approved unanimously.
Thank you. Do we have anything on subcommittee formation reports or outstanding business?
No.
Okay, and then anything on commission calendar and study sessions?
We do have one study session on March 12th for the Housing Catalyst work plan.
Thank you. And as always, we will close with any comments or questions for the public record. I actually did have one comment for the public record, and it goes back to what we heard on consent calendar around the responsible contractor ordinance. Eric walked us through the process here of before pulling building permits, making sure that you are not working with a contractor that has active violations in terms of wage theft and other labor violations. One thing that I've heard from representatives of organized labor is that the bar to actually end up in that state database is fairly high, and that there are cases where you might have an issue of wage theft that is resolved out of court, and then that contractor never ends up in this database. So my only comment here would be encouraging City Council to, potentially revisit and evaluate the effectiveness of this ordinance and make sure that it actually does have some teeth to prevent, what is a real issue in wage theft. But with that, any other public comments for the record this evening? Okay, if there's nothing else, we will adjourn at 7:31. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.